How many of you guys have used any of these products just by a show of hands? These are all huge name brands like Pine Sol, Windex, Vaseline, Vicks. These are all products that have been tested on animals and frequently tested on animals. And I don't know about you, but I really wouldn't want Mr. Clean products or Clorox on my skin or in my body, in my eyes, etc. So even if you haven't used one of these products, I'm sure you've seen them before. And they all test on animals, which is really scary because that's a lot of big name products. Testing on animals is inhumane, and there's so many other ways that we're developing right now that we can stop testing on animals. Today I'm going to be sharing why it's wrong, why companies test on animals, and what we can do to stop the testing. Makeup and cosmetics is usually what people think of, which is why I put this up here, because this is more diverse. There's a lot of products that go for both guys and girls, not just makeup products. And as stated by the Animal Legal Defense Fund on August 20, 2020, in the article, Animals Used in Research, animals can be used in biomedical, aeronautic, automotive, military, agricultural, behavior, and cognitive research. So it's not just cosmetic products, which probably most of us think of when we think of animal testing. And I think it's really upsetting, as someone that really does like animals, it's upsetting to know that these companies are testing their products when they know they're not safe for humans. They're just testing on animals to see what the effects are, to research the effects. And that makes me really sad because my neighbor's dog is actually a beagle, and he was rescued from a testing place, and he's just a happy dog, and that makes me really sad that he got tested on. So it's not just dogs, it's cats, birds, rats, mice, guinea pigs. There's a lot of different animals that are used for testing. And I don't know what the purpose of testing on birds is because they're not very similar to us, but that's okay. The Humane Society of the United States, in the article Taking Suffering Out of Science, states that 95% of the drugs tested on animals ultimately fail in human trials. So it's only 5% of the things they test on animals pass for humans, which is quite a lot. I think 95%, even if they are testing animals, that should be a lot lower. If they're making products that only 5% pass, that's pretty dangerous. And obviously animals aren't the same as humans, so the 5%, we still don't know if those are okay for humans or not. So animals are killed, whether the product kills them, the experimenters kill them after, because obviously they need a new, fresh test subject every single time, or their results would be varied from other experiments. So I think the animals don't really get to live a happy life, and that's not how they should be living. Now you may be asking, why do we test on animals? So there's a lot of different reasons that you probably wouldn't think of, but the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, states that in the article, Why Animals Are Used in Testing Medical Products, that the main purpose is to determine the safety of a medical product. I mean, that makes sense. That's really why they are tested, to determine the safety of products. But it helps determine the pharmacology and the toxicity of the drug being tested. So when they're tested, things being recorded, as stated by the FDA, are how much of the drug is absorbed into the bloodstream, how the drug is broken down chemically in the body, the toxicity of the drug, and how quickly it is excreted. So according to the animal research at Stanford in the article, Why Animal Research, written on April 20th, 2020, it states that nothing so far has been discovered that can be a substitute for the complex functions of a living, breathing, whole organ system with pulmonary and circulatory structures like those in humans. They're basically saying that we can't find anything. Nothing is the same as a human, and animals are basically as close as we can get. We don't have a method that effectively tests products. So we're going to keep experimenting on animals until we find another way. So you may be asking, is there anything we can do? Yes, so there are solutions being tested literally right now to eliminate animal testing altogether. Cruelty Free International states in their article, Alternatives to Animal Testing, that ex vivo is being tested right now. So ex vivo uses tissue samples from animals instead of the animal as a whole. which is more humane, but the real goal is to eliminate animals from the entire process. And supposedly you get the same results, and that's what the article said, but hopefully it would be pretty much the same as using the entire animal. Ex vivo is a step in the right direction, but the real goal is to eliminate animals from the entire process, and ex vivo does still use animals. In the article, alternatives to animal testing, also in the article, alternatives to animal testing, the method of cell cultures is being tested. So, with all the technology we have, and all the cool stuff they do in hospitals, you would think that we would have another way to test animals and test our products, not on animals. So, scientists have figured out a way to make cells grow into 3D structures, such as miniature human organs, which is kind of cool, like either way, if they're testing animals, that's kind of cool. But this method would eliminate experimenting on testing on animals, like, completely. They wouldn't have to use animals at all anymore. And it's even more reliable because they're human organs. They're not animal organs or bird organs that function completely different than how our organs function. So, we get a better understanding of how the drugs affect humans directly, and the studies would directly affect humans. Like, we wouldn't have to switch from the dog to human, because obviously we're not the same. And it would advance our knowledge of drugs and the products being tested. So, like, you guys might be thinking, like, what if that puts us in danger? Like, not testing products on animals, them not being safe for humans. It doesn't put us in danger. It's old-fashioned anyways. And so I talked about why the testing is wrong, the reasons companies test on animals, and possible solutions to help just to help stop it. How can you help? So these products are cruelty-free, and I see brands of that I use every day. How can you help? You can switch to products like these. I know you might be thinking, like, oh, me switching to one of these products isn't going to do anything. But if all of us do, it can make a huge difference and really put a dent in these companies' their profit. And this also, they can trick you into thinking it's cruelty-free and it's really not. So they have to have those symbols on it. But I would encourage you to buy cruelty-free instead of companies that test on